Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a spin-off continuation of the animated movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So, like I said, this is a continuation of the movie that just came out, I want to say last year, and it's very cool to see the movie get a series. Usually, when you have a movie series, it's either self-contained or, an animated series might get a direct-to-DVD type, streaming movie. But it's very cool to see a movie get its own show and kind of be within that canon. So, like I said, this is based off the movie, which is very fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed. And I'm happy to say this show is more of the same in a good way. The comedy is on point. I think the animation looks good. They decided to go with a 2D look, which I think was a good choice. I want to say they went that way to differentiate from the movie. Obviously the movie has a big budget, so it's going to look a lot better in CG. So they decided to go CG with the TV show. I think it would have looked a lot worse, and it would have been noticeable compared to the movie. So 2D animation for this show, and it absolutely looks fantastic. It doesn't skip a beat. I think they do really good with the action scenes. They look really well. Overall, a lot of the slower scenes, aren't super, have a bunch of frames or anything like that. But overall, they're really fantastic. The characters are well designed. There's cool new mutants and everything like that. So the animation is just fantastic. Like I said, it's different from the movie, but it's different in a good way, I think. And it's still very well done, because obviously the show is going to have a smaller budget, and that's to be expected. So I love the animation. Like I said, I love the way the characters are written in the comedy within the show. It's the same thing as in the movie, which I really thought the movie was really funny. It had some really cool action scenes. The show is the same way. The Turtles feel like teenagers. They have some really funny comedy moments, which I absolutely love. And there's really cool action scenes. Especially on the last episode, there's a cool action scene where they fight this mutant, which I'm not going to spoil anything right now. This cool action scene where they fight this mutant, which is just absolutely fantastic. And I think there's a lot of great action scenes throughout the show, especially, the last episode. There's plenty of episodes. The show is just full of comedy and action in the most fantastic way. And if you enjoyed the movie, you're going to love this show, because it's more, like I said, it's more of the movie in the best absolute way. Fantastic show. I give it a 9 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. And it actually might be one of my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles things ever. Definitely one of my favorite animated shows, which is hard because they have a lot of good animated shows, and I like all of them in different ways because they do bring something different to the table, and this show does as well. Absolutely fantastic. It's on Paramount Plus. It's 12 episodes long, about 22 minutes an episode, 23-ish minutes or so. So it won't take you long to watch it. I highly recommend you going to check it out, especially if you enjoyed the movie. So I want to get into spoilers to really talk about what happens in this show and everything's in it. I'll just let you know a little bit. It's well done. I think there's some really fun, interesting stories. We get some moments with the Turtles together as brothers. We get some cool moments with individual Turtles. It's absolutely fantastic. Like I said, so I want to talk spoilers. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. So the show is divided into 2 distinct stories that are pretty much overarching. Some of the episodes feel like standalone, but they do connect in small ways, at least, to the overall story. So the first 6 episodes, the main villain is this scientist named Bishop, and she hates the Turtles for a couple of reasons. The reason she's constantly saying is that she hates the Mutant Turtles because they're the next step of evolution, and they're going to end up destroying mankind. Kind of like the X-Men kind of mentality where, in the X-Men comics and movies and everything like that, they don't like them because, they're freaks and they're probably going to take over and destroy all of mankind and replace them. And funnily enough, kind of like in the X-Men, she builds robots to destroy them, kind of like the Sentinels. So there's a very close correlation, and I think they were aware of that, and they kind of try to keep it a little separate because one of her main motivations is that she's mad at the Turtles because in the movie, a lot of the city gets destroyed, and when Superfly was rampaging through the city, he smashed her building where she was building some robots and had just completed her, her super AI intelligent robot, and it was destroyed. So she was very upset about that because she was kind of building it for the memory of her sister. So that's one of the reasons she hates the Turtles, which kind of helps it keep it a little bit separate, even though she says that she just kind of hates the mutants because of, their abominations. But like I said, the main story for the first 6 episodes is Bishop. So the first episode, the Turtles are going to a party and they accidentally get separated. And the next the 4 episodes, including the first one, because the beginning is like a quick little thing that just gets them separated, is following the individual Turtles. So first we follow Leo, who's trying to get to April so she can use her phone to track down Donatello because she's on his app or something like that. And this episode is very cool. These 4 episodes are very good because it's the Turtles, again, individually learning kind of lessons. Like Leonardo is unsure if he's capable of being by himself without his team and succeeding. So that's what he learns in this episode, like fighting one of these Mechazoid robots, which they're called Mechazoids, with the help of April. The second one, and I might get them out of order, but they're more or less, you can switch them up, it doesn't change too much, is Mikey with this guy named Rod, who's this spoiled kind of rich adult person who was working with Bishop because his dad funded Bishop's organization, or robots, just because he thought Rod might get interested and actually start working for a living. So Mikey and him are running away, and the robots, or the Mechazoid, is after Rod because he has 2 different colored eyes, which is technically a mutation. So the robot can't tell the difference between Mikey and him because it just sees them as mutants, which is something Donatello brings up later. It's like the robots are going to just go after humans anyway because eventually they're going to say that, all humans are capable of mutating, which is generally something that happens in comics and everything, and has happened, I think, in the X-Men, where it's just like, well, humans are mutants and mutants are humans because mutants evolved from humans, so they're connected. So anyway, Mikey and him are just running away from this robot, and the guy says that, or Mikey figures out or learns that his dad's the one who's funding the lady, or Bishop, so he's like, call her off, so call your dad so she'll stop chasing us or whatever. And he agrees, but he wants to become a mutant, so he's like, give me some of your blood and I'll call my dad to tell her to stop. So Mikey's like, okay, so they go to a zoo and Mikey pretends to give him blood, but doesn't, and through the chaos of the robot and everything, Mikey had taken his blood out. It falls in the trash can with a bunch of other chemicals, and a Pinscher drinks it, and another mutant is born, Pigeon Pete, which is kind of hilarious. But Mikey ends up defeating the robot, and then we go over to Raph, who has been captured by the Purple Dragons, because in the chaos in the beginning of the first episode, or the first events, all the turtles are separated, and Raph was hurt and found by this evil gang called the Purple Dragons, which are kind of funny. And it's the same thing, he's just trying to, or I forgot to mention, Mikey learns that because he feels like he's the least qualified person, or he doesn't really bring much to the Turtles. He doesn't, like, Leonardo's the leader, Raphael's the muscle, Donatello is the intelligence, so he's like, what am I? But he learns that he also brings kind of like this ingenuity, and he's capable of being just as good as his brothers. The same thing with Raph, he learns to talk and be a little comedic and just kind of let loose instead of just, being aggro all the time. That's kind of his lesson. Is that he gets captured by the Purple Dragons and the robot attacks, and he ends up escaping from them and everything, kind of makes a little bit of alliance for a short time. And then Donatello learns about his inner aggro personality, not just to, rely on his intelligence. He learns that, I can be crazy and physical too. I'm just as capable and as strong as my brothers. So that's kind of his lesson. Again, the robot's chasing him. And then it was the next episode, we learn about Bishop and her background. And the final 2 episodes are them fighting against Bishop and against all her giant robots, because of course all the robots go crazy. And Donatello invents Shellhead. He takes one of the robots and turns them good on their side to protect mutants, instead of the other robots who are programmed to destroy mutants. And it ends up in this cool, awesome battle action scene. And it ends with the Turtles defeating Bishop, and Bishop gets picked up by the government, which the government's just like, we like what you're doing, we want you to come work with us, which this first story arc ends that way. And I forgot to mention that these stories are told by, the first one is told by Leonardo, the second one's kind of told by Raphael. So we don't know if it's all the stuff that's happening is the 100% truth. We just know it's most of it is, apparently. So the second one takes place during a big storm, and there's the three main villains, the East Side 3 or the Pure Side 3 or something like that. Mutant, Seahorse, Eel, and Goldfish, which I really like the Goldfish. And they have these anemones that are also kind of like minions that work for them. So they're trying to flood the entire city to get this giant pearl back from the museum, because they were mutant again, going back to Superfly when his machine fell in the ocean and mutated these fish creatures, and they were shunned by their people. So they want to get this big pearl back so they can take it back to their fish people and be accepted again. So they're trying to flood the city so they can flood the museum and go in there and break in and steal it. And the turtles at the beginning of the episode have separated to run a bunch of errands, and they inadvertently run into the sea creatures as they're trying to break down walls and flood sewers and everything like that, and they interfere with them. Very cool, interesting stuff, a lot of fun. And it culminates with the turtles. They go to the museum. The Mutanimals are also with their cousins throughout these 6 episodes, which is kind of cool. Similar to the last 6 episodes, there's 5 episodes where we see like Splinter and April together on an adventure, Donatello and I'm forgetting, Wingbat together, and Raphael and Scumbug and Ray Fillet. And same thing, so we see one of the turtles with a couple of mutants, or what mutants, like Leonardo's with Pigeon Pete, and we see them interfering with the sea mutants. So it culminates at the end where we find out that Goldfin, who is a goldfish mutant, which was with them, really wants the pearl so he can sell it and become rich. Like, he was just like, forget the other sea people, they turned their back on us, let's just be rich and everything. But he didn't tell his friends, so he ends up betraying his friends at the end, which is very sad. But it leads to this cool fight on this boat where the turtles are fighting against Goldfish, or Goldfin, who's very cool. Like I said, this is a very cool action scene. They end up defeating him because they take these bombs from the sewers and they throw it at the yacht and it explodes, and they end up returning the pearl to the ocean. And this storyline ends with Goldfin and the anemone mutants kind of taking over this crime boss's turf or whatever, so we'll probably see him again. So I could have spoke more about it, but I feel like I'd be rambling. But those are the 2 main storyline and plots. Like I said, they're absolutely fantastic. Great action, great storytelling, good reflection on the turtles' behalf and some of the other mutants of who they are, where do they belong in this world, and it's very cool. I think my only flaws would be that I would have loved more episodes with the 4 turtles together as brothers, on a mission or something like that. And also, I would have liked to see them more involved with high school stuff, which it looked like it was going to be that way in the beginning of the show, and the same thing at the end of the movie. But besides mentioning this party that they were going to, nothing else really comes from it. We don't see them in high school or interacting with anyone, so it'd be cool if we get a next season, if we see a little bit more of that. But overall, absolutely fantastic show. I loved it. Great story, great new characters. Like I said, Goldfin is probably one of my new favorite mutants. If they make a toy or something, I'm going to probably, grab some merch of him, because he's very cool and just a badass. And I love his design too. He's very small, but, he's very deadly. Like, he had the turtles on the rope. Like, they were having a hard time fighting him. But overall, fantastic show. If you watched it, did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What are your thoughts? Is it your new favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon? Your least favorite? Give me your rankings. Let me know how you feel about all the cartoon shows if you've seen them. As always, thank you for watching, like, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out.